Hello, everyone. I am Rebecca Howard, founder of the Nanny Agency Startup Academy. And joining me today is the lovely Jennifer Frantz, who is a member of the Nanny Agency Startup Academy. She also provides marketing support to students in the academy. And she is the owner of MJ's Nanny Service, which she created. Well, you didn't create it in the academy, but you grew it in the academy. And
Yes.
we are here today because I'm kicking off a series called Mindset Monday. So every Monday, and I promise it'll be more organized moving forward, but every Monday I will be live either alone or with a guest talking about mindset, because at the core of who I am a mindset person. I mentored people with their mindset for years before I started the academy. And I've done a lot of work around energetics and just mindset work. And I feel like as nanny agency owners, we sometimes get into this place, well, oftentimes get into this place of feeling alone and feeling overwhelmed and stressed out. And it's so easy in this industry because a lot of us do work alone. It's so easy to go down a negative spiral. And so Jennifer and I are here to talk about 3 common things that happen that sort of jack your mindset as a nanny agency owner, and some remedies that we have that are tried and true for us that should be helpful for you. So without further ado, Jennifer and I will start the conversation, and let's go. Let's go.
Let's
So,
do the damn thing.
yes. So this first mindset, what do we want to call it? Mindset hijacker? I don't know. I feel like our mindset hijack. And this is a very common one that happens at the end
Mindset
of the year.
misstep.
Yeah, mindset misstep. So very commonly, what has been for me, not just in my nanny agency, but I'm a multi-business owner, right? I have owned many businesses over the last 25 years. The nanny agency just happens to be the one that I've had the longest. I have built, grown, scaled, sold businesses organically for the last 25 years in a lot of different industries. So I'm talking from that perspective of someone who has literally climbed the mountain multiple times and had to become a ninja when it comes to mindset, because there are things that happen in every business. We're talking about the nanny business in particular today. There are things that can happen that will make or break you and will determine whether or not you succeed in the long run. If you allow these things to bring you down and become part of your identity, you'll never succeed. So the first one is a big one. This is slow seasons in your nanny agency. And technically, I see this happen a lot in like midsummer to September, and then again between November and January. So I know Jennifer has had some experience with that recently. So I'm going to let you hear it straight from her, what her last slow season looked like, and then we'll discuss ways that she got around it. All right, Jennifer, take it away.
All right. So my last slow spell, if you will, was from last October to January, actually. So it was a good 3 months that I was seeing little to no action in terms of getting clients, nannies even applying to, my agency and all that. So it was, tough going at first. I thought, like, what am I doing wrong? Like all of a sudden it was like crickets. And I was just like, I've never had that since starting, my agency. So, it really started, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? Like, do they not like me?
Yeah.
Are the clients not believing, what I'm saying, what I'm putting out there, like what XYZ, and so I really had to like really buckle down and just, sit there and, put on some motivational, stories and, you know, bring my self-talk up,
Yeah.
because, you're going to have those times where it's going to be slow, and it looks
Mhm.
different for everybody. It looks different for each agency, even though it's technical slow period. Maybe the other agency isn't slow, which happened
Mhm.
to me too. I heard, talks about it being slow, and I'm like, slow? What are you talking about? I'm like, oh, here over here, you know? So it just looks different for everybody. And, you know, for me, it was just a taste of what can happen. And
Mhm.
I had to really, you know, overcome that. So luckily, I had in my, you know, pocket of my utility belt, if you will, of being motivated and getting myself through it. And I just, you know, buckled down and, you know, told my story again and said, this is why I'm here. And, you know, I just kept going. You
You
know,
went
I
back
didn't
to
want
your
to
why.
stop that
Yeah.
ball from
Yeah.
rolling. And I could have very easily have done that and just said, well, I guess I'm done, you know, but
Yeah.
I didn't. And, you know, I just kept that ball rolling and I just kept telling myself, kept putting myself in the position, even though I was talking to like multiple people and they're
Hmm.
like, yeah, 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 you know,
Yeah.
it happens. And so it could have left a sour taste in my mouth. It could have, you know, I really could have stopped, but I didn't. And, you know, looking back on it, you know, I just made sure I was, you know, doing everything I was supposed to be doing to, like I said, get myself out there, talk to
I
people.
think that,
And I knew
yeah.
eventually that it would pick back up. That and I just kept focusing on that. It's just gonna
Yeah.
keep it'll happen. I just got to keep going. And so with that, you know, and all of a sudden in January, whew, I had multiple calls. I had families like, when can I sign up? Can I sign up today? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, where have you been? You know?
Well, yeah, when things like that happen, it's so easy to go into this panic mode like, oh my God, it's the economy. Like, yeah, we all know we're in a recession. Everybody knows there's inflation. Yeah, the economy's bad, but I want to tell you something. So, my nanny agency, I started in the year 2000. Okay, so 24 years ago. I went through the biggest market crash, recession, depression of 2007, 8, 9 that you could ever imagine. And what started as, you know, we were doing 30 to 40, I got to tell you, we were literally doing 30 to 40 nanny placements a month. A month. Okay.
Wow.
Back then our prices were lower too, but we were bawling. And all of a sudden in California specifically, but all over the nation, there was that whole thing where the banks were overextending. And, you know, we all know what happened there. You know, the banks went under, people were losing their homes. People who had been like high producing entrepreneurs were all of a sudden, I'd go to the gym to like work out, and there'd be like the top producing real estate agent in Southern California was literally working at the gym because he could not make money. And that's what it was looking like here. Was everyone was losing their businesses. Everyone was losing their jobs. People were getting jobs at like the grocery store who I knew had been like high level entrepreneurs that I looked up to. And I was like, oh my God, my business is dead. I'm in a luxury business. And all these people who were my ideal clients are literally losing their ass and having to work at the gas station. And that's literally what was happening here in Southern California. It was wild. And back then, I really didn't have the tools that I have now. So I went into like panic mode, like major panic mode. Um, and stayed in that mode for like 6 months to a year. And the business did take some significant hits during that time. But when I pulled my head out of my you know what and decided to remind myself of my mission, my why, who I am, who I'm here to serve, it was like, okay, well, it's just time to pivot. So we shifted. We shifted our offerings. We shifted the way we were doing things. We started a babysitting membership, things like that. That's worst case scenario. We're not in that scenario right now. The holidays this last year were slow. A lot of people were slow between October and January. And what I have found, so not to scare you guys with that recession story, but that was then. It's a different kind of recession that we're in today. But that was the worst. That was the worst thing ever. Um, yeah, I still shudder when I think about it. But it actually, I had to get rid of my office staff. I had to bring things back to just doing it myself. My agency became very boutique again. I actually raised the prices but started working with fewer clients. It was a whole thing, and it actually created what I have today, which is amazing. So I look back on that time and think, wow, that major shift and that rug pull was actually probably the best thing that could have happened for my
Yeah,
business.
blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Today, in all of the businesses that I own and operate and run and manage, and the teams that I run and things like that, when we go through slow times, and we do, all businesses kind of seem to follow this kind of cyclical pattern. And I feel like everybody was slow mid to late October through mid January this last few months. The best remedy that I have found to combat that is not to look at reality. This is going to sound crazy, but it's written on my whiteboard right there in front of me in big block letters: ignore reality. That is my mantra. Ignore reality. I don't give a crap. I wanted to say something else. Live on a lot of clubs. I don't give a crap what is going on in reality. I don't care if the economy is crashing. I don't care who the president is. I don't care if the news is saying that we're all, going to lose our business and lose our ass, and bread's now costing $15 a loaf. I don't care. I don't care about what's happening in reality. All that matters is where I'm going. And so in each moment, when those thoughts start to come in, like, oh, wow, I don't pay attention to the news, honestly, but my boyfriend does. And so when he calls me in the morning and gives me the negative Nancy rundown of how awful the economy is and and the state of the union, I'll say, okay, thanks, honey. Have a great day. I love you. And then as soon as I'm on the phone with him, I have to shift back into, so what? So what, right?
Right.
Anyone relate? Does anyone have a partner that's just totally into the news? Like,
yes, my husband, total negative Nelly. I'm just like, what? Seriously, you
yeah,
want to talk about polar opposites? That's me and him in terms of, positivity and negativity. Polar
yeah,
opposites. All he does is focus on the negativity.
yeah,
And I'm just like, really? Why?
yeah. So don't do that, because what happens is we create a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you keep repeating to yourself, and I'm speaking from experience in my own life,
Mm-hmm.
repeating to yourself what's happening in reality: my business is slow, the economy's bad, oh, it's just really hard. And I feel like that's the loop I see people in: is my business is slow, the economy's bad, it's so hard. Guess what you're going to see more of? It's like telling yourself not to see blue pickup trucks. You're going to all
Yeah.
see all blue pickup trucks on the road,
Nothing
right?
but. Yeah.
Yeah. What the script that's running is what you're going to see more of. And this is not some spiritual stuff. It just is how it is. So you've got to change that script. And for me, the best way to get out of that loop, because trust me, I still get in it. I was in one yesterday morning. The best way to get out of that loop is to get into action. So instead of repeating the story about what's happening in reality, or what I'm seeing in front of my face, or what somebody might have said that upset me, or feeling judged because somebody doesn't like what I'm offering and they think they could do it better, or whatever. I mean, we get this stuff all day long, right? It's to get into action. So for me, that looks like creating content for my businesses. That looks like, catching up, like within the nanny agency startup academy, for example. I always have a lot of students that I'm working with, so I can always jump into one of their profiles and be working on things for them, and that just gets me into a state of flow. So this is what's happening over here, great, it's not permanent, so I'm just going to shift over here. And for me, I'll dig into other work that needs to be done, or I will reach out to one of my VAs and get them started on a project, or I will create different content, or I'll decide, hey, from now on I'm doing Mindset Monday, so I'm going to make an outline for what we're going to talk about there. It's just taking steps in the direction of your goal, and it's about shifting from what you don't want to see and moving towards what you do want to see. Jennifer, do you have anything to say about that?
Absolutely. And that's what I mean by, self-talk,
Mm-hmm.
making sure, what's in your mind is more positive, as opposed, and you're focusing on the positive, as much positivity as possible, even though you might not be seeing it in reality. At least inside of you, you can be that positive person and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
even doing this with you, to your point, Rebecca, this is therapeutic to me right now. Even though I have, families going on right now, I still have that self-doubt sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I place a nanny with these families? Can I actually do that?
Yeah.
Even now, even like, a couple of years later, I'm still having that self-doubt. And, this is therapeutic, having Motivation Monday.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic. It really is.
Maybe I'll make it Motivation Monday instead of Mindset Monday. I like that. Or
Oh,
Mindset.
sorry.
Right now,
That was a Freudian slip for me.
No, but I like it. It works for me. I love it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like just whatever you can do to get yourself into a better feeling place. And for me, I love to work. I love my clients. I love my businesses. So if I can just dig into what I can do, um, even if it's getting on Chat GPT and coming up with ideas for content, things that I'm going to post on Instagram or whatever, that will shift me out of that place. So that's the first one. The second thing that we see a lot of with nanny agency owners and, mindset hijackers would be that feeling, you're working with a family, you've taken a long time to find them someone, they've signed the contract, they've paid your fee, they've hired the nanny, and then like 30 to 60 days later, it's not working out, and they come back and they're like, it's not working out, we need a replacement. So nothing gives you the punch in the gut feeling as an agency owner like that. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, for me, it may be a year into it. So, and I'm going to be giving this family a break. So I had a conversation, it was like 2 weeks ago now, and I haven't heard anything, so I have to check in. Um, but they were like, oh, the nanny's been great, but now she's like, kind of distant, really not wanting to, be a part of things,
Yeah.
in a nutshell, without revealing too much. Um, so, as an agency owner, obviously, I give advice. That's about it. Um, but we're coming up on that year where I give a year's,
12-month placement guarantee. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, that's such a shame because you guys put so much into it and so has she. So I'm like, what the heck,
Yeah.
because I was like, woo, a year.
Yeah.
And
I
then
know.
boom, not so much. But it is what it is. And, that's what I say to myself, because you're not a part of it, really. Well, you are, but you're not. And you got two parties coming together where you're, kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, I did my best in terms of matching personality, matching, the requirements of, experience and all that. But it is still two very different people getting together and making it work, right? So, at the end of the day, you just got to say that you tried really hard, and, I did. It is what it is at the end of the day, and you just try your best again,
And
as long as
another great way to like shift your mindset in a situation like that is to look at it as, this is my opportunity to really prove how amazing I am as a business owner, because I'm
right,
gonna give them that guarantee, and I'm gonna listen to them and make sure both sides feel heard. I'm going to do my best to find the replacement. And you can ask the family at that point, for another testimonial that just says, hey, Jennifer stood, unfortunately things didn't work out with the first nanny that we hired, but Jennifer's agency stood behind their full 12-month replacement guarantee. And what happens there is you take a situation that's stressful for the family and the nanny and
right,
yourself, but it gives you an opportunity to really shine and to hone your customer service skills, because that's really what we all are,
exactly.
is
Hmm.
customer service relations people. To really just, instead of looking at it like, I got to do this one for free, it's going to take me all this time and work and effort. It's like, no, actually, I have the opportunity right now to really fine tune and hone my skills, my craft, to show this family, not only do I actually stand behind what I say, um, but I'm going to work with them to find someone else, and I will get another testimonial out of it, and they're going to tell everyone that they know that my nanny agency is the best because I actually provided this extension of service to them. And so
Right,
there's a little way like to just kind of switch it around to like, where's the opportunity in all of these things, like
right,
where's the opportunity? Well, let's say the family's not so nice about it, and they're like, the nanny that you placed just is late all the time, and it's only been 30 days, and we need a replacement. That in itself is also another opportunity for you to practice taking a deep breath,
right,
listening. That can be hard for me. Sometimes I want to jump in and fix the problem,
right,
but just listening and feel heard. And again, reminding the client, hey, I'm on the same team as you. Obviously, these problems didn't come up in the nanny screen, but of course I'm here for you to help you find a replacement. So there's that beautiful synergy where, even if it's like the person's unhappy, you can hear them out and kind of smooth it over and work as a team with them. And this helps. This sort of training, this like life training that we get from these difficult situations,
hmm,
actually makes us better at sales,
yeah,
honestly. The more tough situations you have to deal with a client, where you have to be diplomatic and hear them out and give them guidance and show that support them through another bit of the process makes you 10, 20, 30 times better at listening to a new client and understanding and meeting them where they're at and conducting a discovery or sales call with a new client that's going to make them want to work with you.
Right.
So all of this comes full circle in such a beautiful way. You become like this well-seasoned, calm, business person. And I mean, let's be honest, we're not always calm about it. I mean, we have the mastermind in the academy, and
well,
so
not to their faces, of course.
Yeah. No, but I mean, everybody has a meltdown about it. You're allowed to have a meltdown if things don't work out. Have your meltdown. If you have a supportive group like we have in the academy, our mastermind group, Vox or Chat, which is a beautiful place for students, to come in and vent, like vent and get support. If you don't have that academy, if you're not in another program, vent to a friend. Have another friend that's a business owner that you can vent to. Like, just get that. It's important to get the emotions out around it, and then get for yourself and look at, where's the opportunity here for me to grow? Because trust me, all of this stuff happens just to sharpen you and make you better.
Agreed. And like I've always said from the beginning, it's learning experiences and learning experiences that you can apply to different situations, because even though every family is different, every situation is different, of course, it's still mirroring certain things where you might have a conversation with another client and they're pretty much telling the tale that you just went through with another family. And you're just like, oh, been there, done that. I know exactly what to do for you. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like, these are all just, I'm not like ignoring, I'm just looking to see if anyone's
I know.
These are all just opportunities to get better. And it's really important to have a supportive community. If you have friends that are business owners, they don't necessarily have to be nanny agency owners, but just, some kind of a group that you're in. If you want to learn about the academy, obviously reach out to us. We can tell you all about it. But, barring that, it's just important to have like a partner that you can vent to, and then get yourself back together, get yourself back on track, because this is a long game. This is not a get rich quick type of like pyramid thing. We're building long-term relationships in this business that are going to serve you in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You're going to have a beautiful like referral and recommended business where you don't have to even really do any advertising. You've just got people kind of passing your name around.
Yeah.
And
I already have that happening in the almost 2 years that I've been in business. So it's already happening that way where, I'll be talking to a client and I'll be like, how did you find me? And they'd be like, oh, well, you had worked with so-and-so. And so we figured we'd work with you as well. I'm like, awesome. Thank you. Awesome.
It's really fun when you start to become known as like the secret weapon, when the families start passing you around.
As a nanny, that's it, not to, toot my horn, but that's what in my community, that's how everyone was seeing me as a nanny was, how can I work with Jennifer? Is she available? Jennifer. Like, oh, she's with a family right now. I can't have her. Do you do date nights? That kind of thing. So that's how it was. And it's already starting with the agency because of the consistency I'm putting in there and the quality that I'm showing all these clients that I'm working with. So I hear you.
And it'll get better and better and better. And you'll be kind of like where I'm at, where it's just all referrals and all repeat business. And you don't even really have to worry too much about marketing unless you want to. And that's a really fun place to be. So what was the, Jennifer, I don't have them written down in front of me. What was our final mindset?
The final one, and fresh on my plate today, was unprofessional nannies, how to deal with them. And the nannies that either don't show up to an interview that you're conducting as a preliminary interview before you connect them with the families that they're interested in, or the fun loving nannies that show up and they're really not prepared, and it's a sight to behold, let's put it that way. Because believe it or not, as an agency owner and maybe former nanny, you know what you're looking for, right? But seeing it and actually going through it are two very different things.
Totally.
So it really messes with you sometimes, where you're sitting in front of this person, you're like, this person has no idea what they're doing, or they're really not professional, or they pretty much lied to me about their experience and now they want to move forward with the
Yeah.
family. And just like, you really got to toughen up and you really got to say what you need to say to those individuals so that it's a reflection of your agency. So
And another thing that can happen with your mindset there is when you run into a patch of flaky or unreliable nannies
yes,
and you feel like you're
yes,
never gonna find someone for a family, and the family is, wanting to find someone. And I think what I've done in the past is I've put this weird pressure on myself where I make it up in my head that the family's like breathing down my neck, and it's like, oh my God, I don't have them. If you step out from that though and look and just communicate like, hey, it's been a little slow this week. But I do have some candidates that I'm gearing up to meet for you next week. If you just head that off with the families, because I know that like flaky nannies that are hard to deal with or that don't show up prepared, that's one thing. But then it's when you've got a family and you've interviewed 20 of these flakes, you feel
yeah,
like I'm never gonna find them anyone, and this family's gonna hate me. That's a mindset. That's another opportunity to learn how to communicate better. And
yeah,
I just a little off, not really off topic though. That is why in my agency, and actually I have a branding business as well that works with a lot of clients. We check in with our clients every 2 to 3 days by text, no matter what, whether I have someone for them or if it's a branding project, if I have their stuff done, if I don't have their stuff done, if we need more time. They will hear from me via text once every 2 to 3 days. And it will be, in a case like this with a family, that you've been searching for a while, it's like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. such and such, I just wanted to let you know I had 3 interviews for you this week. I didn't pass any of them, unfortunately. Neither of them were qualified, but I wanted to assure you that I've got several more lined up, and I'll be touching base within 48 hours to let you know where we're at. That goes a
right.
long, long way. And then,
It
yeah,
does.
having conversations with the nannies, like, I don't have those conversations too often with nannies now, because if someone doesn't show up prepared, or if they don't follow instructions, or if they go to an interview and they don't, they start talking about money right away with the family or something like that, like they're pretty much just off the list
Yeah,
for me. I
yeah,
may explain like, hey, you know what? I asked you not to go in and talk about money, and you went in and talked about money first thing, and the family didn't like that. And so sorry. But yeah, I don't know how many conversations I really get into about that stuff anymore with nannies. What does that look like for you, Jennifer?
so
You,
to your what you just said, I've had multiple nanny interviews for a specific family, and I'm just not it's just not one that I can say that I can link them to yet.
yeah,
And it does mess with you, and it does make you think, well, can I really do this with
yeah,
the family? But yeah, to your point, checking in, and I do a weekly, and starting with the families, I always end with, oh, by the way, once we start the nanny search, I do check in weekly
yeah,
at the very least.
yeah.
I'll check in sooner if I have something, or if I have an update for you sooner, but weekly. That's how I generally handle it. But for the nannies, like for example, today she was just not, she told me she had the experience, and then she didn't even have a professional nanny experience as a
Oh.
job. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, in that case, I mean, I've had candidates like that too. And once I realize that's what's going on, then I may, if I think that they could end up being a good candidate, I'll level with them and say, hey, you don't have enough experience for us. You don't have professional experience, but here's what I would recommend you do. And
Right.
maybe, recommend that she goes and works at a daycare for a little while, gets that under
Yeah.
her belt. And I'll kind of show her the way, but I will let people know, like, you're not at that $30 an hour nanny level that you want to be at. And I'm
Right.
sorry, that's, this is what the requirements are, and your resume
Exactly.
not professional. We need 3 to 5 years of professional nanny experience with a family, preferably 1 or 2 families in that time frame. So yeah, I mean, if I think the person may have been, what's the word, making themselves look better to get the job, but
Embellishing.
yeah, they got moxie or whatever, like I'll
Yeah.
let them know, like, hey, I know that you could probably be good at this, but we need to see this experience and here's how you can do it. Come back to me when you have that. Yeah, so I will have those conversations, but yeah, I had a nanny that she presented well for me, and I kind of gave her the rundown of like, when you go to meet the family, no long hoop earrings, don't wear perfume, you know, very minimal makeup, hair should be, you know, back, kind of like, you know, just back like this. I always kind of give them recommendations. You know, dress casual, not business casual, dress like nice casual, you know, have like tennis shoes on or something, take your shoes off when you go into the house, like, oh, you know, all the things.
Right. All those things. Right.
If there's a baby there, wash your hand, ask if you can wash your hands, and then ask if you can hold the baby, you know, things like that. And this girl showed up for some reason in like heels with like big hoop earrings and like a push-up bra. And the family was like, I don't know where she was coming from. And I'm like, I don't either. She didn't show up to me like that.
Right.
If it's a case like that, I may just be like, hey, you know what? I'm not sure what happened, but we expect you to show up casual, professional, ready to be with children. And so at this point, I don't think I can recommend, I can't send you to anyone else because I can't trust you to represent my agency the way that I asked you to. I'll have those conversations.
Yep.
So if anyone's on here, I don't know if we have anyone here. We didn't announce this live, but just for all of you who are here, well, wait, we might have a question actually. For all of you who are watching this, you're probably mostly watching a replay. We'll be doing this every Monday. It might be me and Jennifer. It might be me and Holly. It might be just me. It might be me and someone else. You just never know. It's gonna be a big surprise every week. Oh no, it says it's not available. Are you kidding me? Hold on. I think I didn't make the live stream public on all of the, that is stupid. So that might be why no one's on here.
Whoops.
I think it, let me see. Let me change the audience. This is nuts. I hate it when I do this. But okay, so I think pretty much everyone's gonna be watching the replay at this point. Let's see. Bummer. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. I was gonna ask if anyone had questions, but it looks like no one's on here live because it's a private live stream. So I'll make the public as you're watching the replays. Let me see if I can fix this. So you're watching the replay and you have questions for Jennifer and I. It's Jennifer Frantz. I'll tag her in the video. Jennifer is awesome. She's always happy to answer questions. As am I. Me and my team are always in the DMs on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. You'll either get me or someone on my team. Questions, anything that you want to know. If you have a specific mindset struggle that you're dealing with as an agency owner or as someone who wants to start an agency, just drop it in the comments and we will answer you there, give you our suggestions. And yeah, we'll be doing this every Monday. I don't know exactly what time every Monday because I am just kind of putting it together, but I will be definitely trying to edit the audience here and talk at the same time. We'll definitely be doing, I don't know, are we calling it Mindset Monday, Motivation Monday? Oh yeah.
We can do Mindset Mondays or Motivational Mondays.
Let me just talk to everyone now that we just made it public. Hi, everyone. If you weren't able to watch this live stream live, it's because I didn't make it public because Facebook somehow defaulted it to friends only. So sorry. But you can now watch the replay. And Jennifer and I just had a really good conversation about mindset struggles that nanny agency owners deal with. So if you have questions, if you have comments, feel free to drop them below in the comments. Jennifer and I are always on Facebook. She's happy to respond. I'm happy to respond. Questions regarding the Nanny Agency Startup Academy, feel free to reach out in the DMs. My team is always in there.